Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about the STX 160. As you all know, this is a great platform, very reliable. It took over the STX 15F. Great machine. They use the same motor, just a little different upper half of the hull and some different electronics, but overall an excellent machine. So today, for all you guys who have the LX version with the speakers, as you know, the speakers aren't the greatest from the factory. Over a couple years, I mean, the quality does go downhill. They can break. The salt water really destroys everything for those of you who ride salt water. So in today's video, we're going to be replacing the factory speakers. It's not the size, it's the length of the magnet. It bottoms out and the speaker kind of sits up here. So we have some JL audio speakers that we purchased, some one-room speakers, that we're going to fit in the Kawasaki pod. We're going to show you how we do it. This video is going to be a little different than our other videos. You guys wanted some more technical details and more hands-on stuff. So we're going to run through quite a lot more stuff. This might be a little longer video than usual, but we're going to have some good stuff in this video, and you're going to like how we mount these speakers. First thing we're going to do is remove the 4 mount bolts and hold the speaker in. Okay. Speaker's out. This gasket can come off like this. And you can see this connector here. It's not your typical Kawasaki connector, but they did put some glue around the lip, but it does pop off just like that. So this gasket we're going to set aside. And now we have our speaker. What we're going to do is we're going to remove these little Phillips screws here so we can get the shroud off, because what we have to do is we're going to reuse this connector here. I don't like permanently modifying things, so I don't want to cut up the stock harness in order to fit something different, because the stock harness is very expensive. I believe these pieces are independent on the diagram. But I still don't want to cut up the stock harness. Just in case there's an alternative down the road, I like to keep everything as stock as possible. So here, we're not going to permanently modify anything. Let's try and get this connector off here, and we're going to clip these wires so we can utilize this piece here. First off, I'm going to remove the shroud here, and it's held on by 2 Phillips screws. So we're going to take those out right now. Okay, that's off. So what I want to do is I want to save this connector here. So I'm gonna clip them here. I'm gonna cut this out so I can pull this off in one piece, and then we're gonna clip it and trim it as necessary. I'm gonna grab a hammer and a screwdriver, and I'm gonna try and break these clips that hold this to the speaker. It's plastic injection molded, so that we can utilize this piece here. So let's do that right now. All right, I'm gonna smack these little pieces here, and hopefully we can break this free. One. Alright, that actually came off easier than I expected. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clip it over here. And then we got this little connector up here. So we're just going to reuse this thing. Now the fun part, we're going to draw up a spacer for the new speaker. Alright, let me grab you guys so you get a better idea of what's going on here. So here is the new speaker. Alright, let me throw this bad boy in here. Out of the way. Okay. here's a new speaker. Problem A, there's 6 mount holes on here where the stock speaker had 4 mount holes. Don't worry about the 2 little ones, that just mounted the shroud onto the speaker. So 4 mount holes versus 6 mount holes. So that's going to be a potential issue. As well as the magnet. The magnet sits kind of far out, more so than the stock one. Obviously it's a better quality speaker, but you can see here that there's no way that this is gonna sit properly without some modification. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go sit down on Autodesk and we're going to draw up a spacer for this speaker. It's not something we've really done before, but it'll give you a good idea of what it's gonna look like, and then we're gonna go to the 3D printer and we're gonna actually print this thing. So let's go take a look at the 3D model. We have our 4 mount bolts. So the idea behind this is we have our 4 mount bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4 that are gonna mount to the original speaker bracket. Then we have 6 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that are going to mount directly to the new speaker. Obviously you can see there's no threads in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push in some brass rivets so that the speaker will have something to hold on to, obviously. So we'll bolt on the speaker to this plate here, the spacer plate. Also, I'm sure you're asking, what is this little divot on the bottom here? So on the new speakers, there's a water drain port on the bottom of it, which obviously has to be orientated in this direction. So obviously when you're up on plane, the water is gonna drain out through the speaker. This is something the factory speaker didn't have. So really, really, really cool. We're gonna get to printing, so let's go over there right now. Here's our 3D model part printing. Looking pretty damn cool. It's 50% fill for strength and rigidity, so it kind of looks like it's flat, but it's not. You can get a little better view now. It's a pretty long build. We have 2 hours and 27 minutes left. So once this is complete, we're going to push in those brass inserts, and then we're going to get to installation. All right, so here's a little connector here. Got our soldering iron. A little bit of solder. I have black and red speaker wire. We're gonna cut some pieces, solder it on here, then we're gonna solder it onto the speaker, and then we're gonna silicone everything, and then obviously we're gonna have to let that dry, and then we're gonna have to install our shim and silicone all that up. So let's take care of this right now. I'm gonna cut some wire, strip it, and we're gonna get the soldering. Alright, I'm gonna cut a little black wire here. Cut the same length red. Perfect. Alright, now we're gonna strip the wire. Solder this together. All of you who have not soldered before or don't solder too much, you probably want to use flux core solder. You can use the paste as well, but this is definitely going to be a little bit easier. Okay, we're going to solder this here. Sorry if it's hard to see. Perfect. Here's one. Do the same thing to this side. take some marine shrink tubing here. And this shrink tubing actually has hot glue in it, so when you shrink it, it seals everything up so it's watertight. Perfect. Alright, here's our heat gun. Hard to see, but you can see a little bit of hot glue oozing out there. You can buy this stuff on Amazon or eBay. It's pretty common these days. We're going to strip these two guys now, and then we're going to solder them to the speaker. Just like that. So we're going to throw some solder on here. There we go. See the solder. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some silicone, put this cool down, and I'm gonna put silicone around all this and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so what I did is I put some zip ties on there just to clean it up a little bit. But everything's soldered, everything looks really, really good. We're gonna use some marine silicone here. You can use any marine silicone. Do not use any bath silicone or anything like that. You can use RTV if you want, but I think the marine's gonna hold up the longest. So I'm going to seal everything here. Shim here. We 3D printed a shim. So what we're gonna do is, since the CAD Design is a 4 mount bolt, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts that we use here to mount this piece of plastic to the ski. So we're gonna use the stock bolts, mount that to the ski. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna push in these brass inserts into these holes here for the speaker. So there's 6 of these for the speaker. We're gonna heat those up. They're gonna melt in there, and that's gonna be a solid connection for the speaker. There's 6 of those. So all in all, I think this is gonna look pretty good. I think futuristic-wise, we're probably gonna see a CNC machine piece of plastic for this. But I think the 3D printed plastic is good enough for now. But you can get a sneak peek of pretty much what this is going to look like installed, which really ain't so bad. So we're going to get to putting in those inserts in the plastic, and we'll see how everything looks. We made our plastic shim here, and I actually didn't realize that the back of the speaker actually has drainage for water. So when I originally made the 3D printed shim, I actually didn't include a drain spot for water. So it was just a solid piece and it wouldn't have drained out of the speaker, kind of like the OEM one. So I put this little relief in here, just like that. If you can see that, as a drain. And I think it's going to help quite a bit. It's going to go just like this, so it drains down with gravity, and the speaker is going to go right on top of that, just like that. Also, I pushed in these brass inserts in here, which I think look pretty damn nice. They're just below the surface. I was going to use this gasket here, but it's a little beat up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to silicone the back. I'm going to bolt this on here, and then we're going to install the speaker the same way. Also, I had issues with the threads on here. One of them was a little messed up, a little galled, so I ran through with a tap on all 4 of these holes and actually had to replace one bolt. So if I had issues with this one, that means the other one's gonna have issues, so I'd highly recommend chasing all the threads or going through with a tap. I think if we're gonna make a kit out of this, we will include new screws and a tap and everything you could need to do this properly. So now we're gonna get to gluing and we'll see how it turns out. Here's our marine silicone. Don't use any bad silicone. Don't use any RTV. Use a strictly marine silicone. Above the waterline is fine. This will do the job. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna apply a film of silicone on the rear of this shim right now, and then we're gonna bolt it on. Now just make sure that the little water galley that we made here faces down. So we're gonna grab our original screws and we're gonna bolt this in. All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a thin bead of silicone on the inside here, just to make sure that it's watertight. Now I wanna make sure that this connector is gonna be waterproof. So, together, just like that. Okay, so we're just gonna put some silicone around the connector now. Make sure it's waterproof, best as possible. All right, let's get the rest of these screws in here. I think it looks really good. Looks sick. Really, really cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. What we'll probably do is release a 3D printed kit, just like the one we showed here. And you guys can get your own speakers. I don't know if the bolt pattern is going to be the same for everything, but we'll give you the part number and everything for these speakers, so you guys can source them, probably Amazon or whatever. So we will offer a kit for this, and it should be an easy install for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Tune in for next time.